places, my body, head, and soul. Many miles away, I could start a perfect story. I found myself and find out glory. This deceptive world, giving me the sign, giving me the sign. Giving me the sign, giving me the sign.
Welcome everybody to the Sci-Fi Queens podcast, where we explore the female characters in science fiction shows, movies, books, games, art, and anywhere female character in science fiction is depicted. If you are new to our channel, we welcome you and we ask that you hit that subscribe and notification bell, as it'll help our channel grow. If you want to support our channel, we do have a merch store. You can see it's in the description, as well as scrolling at the bottom of the page. Check out our merch, see what you like. I am your host, Nita, and tonight my co-host Sarah is with me, and an awesome special guest reoccurring tonight, Kristen. And we're going to be talking about the sci-fi movie, Mortal Engines. Kristen, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy it's Friday. I had a good day. We did story time at the library. Got to pick up pumpkins for a pumpkin decorating contest. It's fall. All the fun, library fall cute activities are happening. I'm doing good.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I like
Are you going to be joining the contest?
I mean, I don't want to win the contest. That wouldn't be fair. So I'm abstaining from the contest.
Oh, no.
No, it's for the kids.
Yeah. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing good. I had a pretty good day, and the dog's contained, so we're good.
That's always a good thing. Now, tonight we're going to be talking about the movie, and we're going to do a little bit of a review. If you haven't watched it, you might hear some spoilers. So, just watch out for that. But we're going to be talking about the movie Mortal Engine. And this is our main character right here, played by Hera Hillman as Hester Shaw. So Sarah picked this movie, as she has been picking our movies, to do a review. Sarah, tell me why you picked this movie before we get into the characters.
Well, it was billed as from the creators of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and I mean Peter Jackson does have a cameo in it, and I was just like, okay. And then I really did, before I even saw it, I liked the concept of it. It just seemed interesting, and that the female heroine, that she's got to fight the good fight and against the big bad villain, and it just seemed interesting. And I don't think I'd ever seen this concept before, of other than Howl's Moving Castle from way back, but other than that, I really haven't seen this type of concept before.
Yeah, it was interesting, all the moving cities, and everyone had a different name, and so on and so forth. So we're going to start with Kristen, and let's talk about Hester Shaw, played by Hera Hillman. Talk to me about this main character, that technically the heroine of this movie, and the role she played.
What I thought of her?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. The thought about her character, her storyline.
I overall really enjoyed her. I think the first time I've seen this movie 3 times now. I saw it in theaters once. I was like, that was way too long. And then I saw it twice when y'all were like, hey, do you want to come on, just to get prepared for this? But I think by the time I saw it for the 3rd time, I liked her the most. So this movie grew on me more each time. And she grew on me more each time I watched it. I love how capable she is, and that she's a little bit rougher around the edges and messy, but there's a sort of a trope of sci-fi women, they're very capable in the beginning, and then they don't do anything great the rest of the movie. We were like, oh, she's so tough, and then she's like, oh, but I need you to help me through the rest of the movie. But she's not like that. Like, beginning, middle, and end. She's very capable, very strong, and like her softening throughout the film makes sense and is paced well, and I really appreciated that. So I think that's really, really well done. And it's refreshing to have sort of that chosen one trope be a woman for once, you know, like she's sort of the one that everyone's talking about. It's like, oh, it's Hester Shaw. And I'm like, yes, finally, it's not Luke Skywalker or Harry Potter or, whoever the guy is in Dune. You know, I'm not a huge Dune head like a lot of people are, but
me neither. I'm with you.
So refreshing. And I know like this movie didn't hit it off, you know, blockbuster wise, but I'm like, yes, go female heroine. So I really did enjoy her. Her look is iconic. Like that would be really fun to, you know,
cosplay. Yes. Yes, yeah, you can cosplay her because your hair color, you don't even need a wig. It's sort of similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to work on my scowl though. Yeah, like a little tougher looking.
So Sarah, what did you think of Hester Shaw's character, of Hera Hillman's character as Hester Shaw?
I liked her, and I really like this movie. It's one of those movies that it's like, oh, this is on, okay, I'll watch it. Or, you know, like if I can't find anything else, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll watch it. And I actually have the book adaptation on my bedside table in the to be read pile.
Wow.
It's one of those movies that's like, it's just, you know, oh, I like this. And I like that she, like Kristen said, that she wasn't the like helpless, and she didn't start out strong and then fizzle out and like, oh, I'm a badass, and then like, but oh, I need a big strong man to help me. It's like she was a badass the whole movie. And yes, she did soften a little bit, but that was part of the storyline and how, you know, how she grew. It was natural growth and natural progression. It wasn't just, you know, and she stuck with her, you know, she had a mission and she stuck with it. And, you know, she accomplished it eventually, but maybe not the way she wanted to, but she did. And, you know, she didn't lose herself to that quest. I guess I like that. Like a lot of when female characters have like a revenge quest story, that sometimes they get lost in it, and then, you know, it ends up killing them, or they lose themselves, or, you know what I'm trying to say, that they go
Absolutely.
so far into it that they aren't there anymore. They're only that plot. But she had her own backstory and her own, the other stuff that was going on around besides that. I mean, that mission was still there, but there was other things going on too. And I like that, because that's kind of how the real world works. You know, that people, you know, yeah, you have a mission, but you can't give yourself up completely to that one singular thing, because you will lose yourself to it.
Yes.
But anyways,
Absolutely.
and what did you think, Nita?
I like Kristen had to watch it a couple of times, because when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I understand what's happening here. I'm not sure. Do I like this movie? I'm not sure. Like, I wasn't sure.
Well, it is a lot going on.
There is a lot going on, and it kind of throw it at you really quickly. But I watched it 2 more times after that. Like, I gave it a little space, and I watched it again. I said, okay, I'm understanding this better. I'm seeing where is it that the storyline is going in a better way. And by the time I saw it the third time, I have to say that I did enjoy the movie. I loved her character because she was portrayed so strong, and she had to be from day one. And she comes from strong women lineage. I mean, her mom, that backstory, when she does that flashback story, was an amazing woman. I mean, she was smart, you know, and she was accomplished, and she knew what she had was dangerous, and she knew not to trust anyone, even the man that she cared about, which I was like, when I saw that flashback, could that be her daddy? Could that be baby daddy? Ooh, we got a whole storyline going on there.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved that they incorporated that. And I love that she was able to stand up even after all these years, to the things she felt needed to be done. And I think that her being sort of raised by this Shriek, I think that gave her what she needed to accomplish that goal. I really do.
Mhm.
I think that that had a big influence on why she was so rough and tough in the beginning, and really had to layer herself slowly, you know. And
Mhm.
I loved her character. I love that she didn't let go of being someone who was, you know, she didn't need someone to rescue her. She was doing the rescuing, so to speak.
Mhm.
And she didn't shy away from help when she knew she needed the help. I love the balance that they gave this character. And I thought that that was pretty amazing. You know, hey,
Yes.
Captain Squadron, what's going on? That's our buddies at Captain Quadras that you guys need to watch after us. Okay. But yeah, I thought she was fantastic. And I loved her storyline. Absolutely. Anything you guys want to add before we go to our next character?
Can I add one thing?
I'm always,
Oh,
always
okay.
do. Please.
My favorite thing of like just the actress is her interactions with Shrike. I just thought they were like so moving because at
Yes.
first she started out very flat, but something about her and is it Stephen Lang? Just the way that they interacted and like how heartbreaking it was. Like that whole plot line deeply moved me, and she just came
Yes.
alive as an actress with her interactions with him and just how like metaphorical it all was, like giving up this possibility of shutting down and death and choosing life with Tom, and like
Yeah.
it was that part really got me. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to be talking
So
about
good.
his character in a little bit as
Oh,
well,
sorry, I didn't mean
because
to
he
jump
is part
ahead.
of. Oh no, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Go ahead, jump
Yeah.
ahead. Always is fun, but he
Yeah.
is part of the lineup of conversation because I don't think we can talk about her without discussing him at some point, because I
Mhm.
think that he played a huge influence in her survival as a child. You know, and upbringing and how she behaved and felt about the world. You know, we
Mhm.
have he is one of my, he's becoming one of my favorite actors. Robert
Mhm.
Sheenan as Tom Natsworthy. We also know him from the Umbrella Academy.
Yes.
Mhm.
He is what an amazing and different individual he was in this character. Like I saw this and kept going, he looks familiar. Why? And I actually had to stop to
Mhm.
look it up because it was really, I couldn't place him.
It's
And
completely different from the other
he's
character that he
so
played.
different. He looks different. The character he's playing is so different. He really embodied this character in an amazing way. I absolutely love it. Um, and I think he played a crucial role in the development of the character. So, Sarah, what do you think about him? He was there from the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I think that he went on his own journey too because he was all about, doing his job and being a historian and, finding the artifacts and the old tech and, just you do your job and, it's kind of a blue collar worker, I guess you say, put your head down and do your job. But then he didn't really have that choice anymore. Things changed
Exactly.
and it was just like and the world, basically, the rug was pulled out from him, like literally. And it's just like, wait, what just happened? What? And then having to deal with that. And he kind of went on his own little journey of, maybe the way we live isn't really a good way to live.
Mhm.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. Before we continue, I want to bring on our third queen, Tiffany.
Yay!
What's
Hey
going on,
gang.
beautiful?
Hey gang.
You
Girls.
know, how are you doing, Tiffany?
I'm good.
Yes. Now,
I'm good.
we are talking about Robert right now, but we did talk about the heroine of the story. I don't know if you want to give some feedback on that, and then we can, move on to what everybody thinks about Robert, just to kind of get your perspective on Hester Shaw.
Right. As far as like these types of movies, like characters in her position, she has the traditional tropes of this kind of character. For me, she was not my favorite character in this thing.
No, that's what we're here though.
Every time she did something, I was like, girl. What are you doing? So I couldn't. I was just like, oh my God, every single time. But yeah, that's it.
All right.
Okay, now, Kristen, talk to me about Robert Sheenan as Tom Natsworthy.
It's so hard to think of him outside of his Umbrella Academy character now. That has definitely colored my vision of him. But yeah, he did his job, I guess, but he did his job. I pictured, was it Eddie Redmayne? I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he was in Fantastic Beasts, that British actor. Do you know who I'm talking about? I feel like he would have been like more of the kind of character, like a little bit more gentle, or like a little bit quirkier, more in that role to play off of her, because I don't know, his energy felt a little different. But I mean, he did his job, and I do think him softening her over time made sense. And I did read in the book that he was a lot more traumatized with having to go after like the big city of London, and I wish that they had done that in the movie and like shown that was more like upsetting and traumatizing, like how hard it was for him to turn against them. And I think that would have been cool to see.
Yeah,
but
we are limited by the movie in this, you know.
Yeah, but there was so much to cover. There was just too many plot lines for them to like pack all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was already over 2 hours, so it was like
the books. There's like 4 books. It's so much to do.
Yeah. So Tiffany, talk to me about Tom Natsworthy.
Well, for me, I agree with Kristen on that one. I don't think this actor had the right kind of quirks that's needed, because I have read the books, and so the way that his character described is kind of just like the way that her character is described. They definitely went a different way. Everyone's so attractive in this movie, which is for a movie, obviously. But I think that just the quirks that he had in the book were a lot more clumsy, just a lot more like he would be nerdier, whereas here he's more. He should be more like a hero, kind of like he is a hero in this movie, but like I don't know how I'm trying to describe it, like a different kind of.
He's more academic.
But I like his character though. I mean, I didn't mind his character. I would say right, exactly.
Yeah,
I didn't mind his character.
And that's
served the purpose.
That's the difficult part when you take books and make them into movies. That you sometimes lose the intensity of what's being said in the books. When I read the Hunger Game books, I read them before the movies came out. I didn't even know the movies were made. And I did like their selection in character, except for Peter. I think the actor did a good job, but he didn't meet the physical qualifications that the Peter in the book was. And it was really hard to embrace it. I think that if you've read the books for Mortal Engine and now you're seeing the movie, Robert Sheenan may not be your choice. I never read the book, so I'm thinking he's pretty good.
I love him as an actor, though. I love him,
Oh yes,
he's great.
We are big Robert Sheenan fan here. Okay, we love him. I think he was one of my favorites in the Academy. The Umbrella Academy is one of my favorites characters. I think that he was truly the backbone of the family, more so than people thought. And I thought he played an amazing character. And I think that he did a good job here. But just because you don't meet that book qualification doesn't mean the actor can't do a good job. I think. I don't know how you feel about that. But let's go on to our next character. The man we love to hate, Hugo Weaving as the Thaddeus Valentine. Even his name is pretentious. Thaddeus Valentine. Tiffany, we're going to start with you. Talk to me about Thaddeus Valentine.
Hugo Weaving is one of my all-time favorite actors, so I can find no fault in Thaddeus Valentine. I'm super biased.
Okay, I said I'll give you, not tell me about your hots, okay? Go ahead, Tiffany. I'm sorry.
But no, so this character for me was now the source material. I feel like he captured it. Obviously, it's Hugo. He's gonna capture the character. I'm sure he did his background. He just felt so evil. But so you know, I couldn't hate him. I mean, I don't know about you guys.
No, I don't think anybody who looks that good I can hate too much. I don't know. Maybe in real life I could, but in movie world I may not be.
You got it. You got it. In the discussion, he's great. He was wonderful.
Sarah, talk to me about Hugo Weaving.
I think he portrayed this character beautifully. I think, I first saw him in The Matrix, so it's like he's one of those people that I love to hate, and it's like, because I hated, Agent Smith or whatever the hell his name was, but like I hated him, and it's like I'm torn sometimes with his characters because like it feels weird sometimes when he plays a good guy, so it's like I like him as a bad guy, I like him as a villain, so I did like this. I mean, I didn't like, from her perspective, I knew he was a bad man, but like I liked his portrayal of it. Does that make sense? That
yes.
the like I could tell that this was like, and like I figured out that he was the big secret way before we got the big reveal. And I'm like, I could feel it coming. I don't know. That's probably the way my brain works, but I could always, he gave off that vibe. Like he would be that kind of a guy.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that assessment for sure. Kristen, are we swooning over Hugo Weaving as well?
No. No, but I do think he's someone who he's like a scene stealer. Like you can't look away when he's doing something or doing, like he just has such presence, and like anything he says, you're like, yeah, I could see him like leading any kind of cult or like, pulling anyone in to do anything, like he's just going to do what he's going to do. He's going to own it, Yeah. As far as the character goes, I felt like very standard bad guy kind of role,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But Hugo Weaving, I don't think I could come up with anything to criticize ever. I don't know. Yeah. Classic.
No, absolutely. And he is amazing. And you said it right. He is a scene stealer. Because even in The Matrix, when he will go, Mr. Anderson, you were drawn in. He drew you in. Okay, he made you go, what? And in this movie, he drew in people with his presence. He's so amazing. So amazing as an actor. I think that he portrays, there's just some actors that do villain well. And he's one of those actors that do villains very well, But we're going to move on to this character, which I don't know, Layla George as Katherine Valentine. Sarah, talk to me about Katherine Valentine.
I didn't like her. Just because she was like the spoiled princess, and it's like, when you find out later they're both, his daughters, and one was, raised in poverty and one had everything, and it's just like I have trouble with that. I guess that's the princess and the pauper kind of, that story.
That's how it felt, right?
Yeah, because like she had everything and she had this wonderful life, where Hester had to fight for everything, not just, not just food or resources or whatever. It was everything she had to fight for. Everything she had in her life, she had to fight for. And then this one, she was just kind of handed everything on a platter, and I didn't like it. I didn't. I think the actress did a good job, but I just didn't like the character in general.
Mm.
Okay, good. Kristen, talk to me.
Well, I felt like it was an underdeveloped storyline. Like she kind of petered out very quickly, but it was an attempt at showing like privilege and waking up to privilege and like, oh, this is good. We're getting there. We're getting there. And then it just kind of dropped out. But I haven't read the books, and I'm like, the more I read the background of the movie and trying to dive in and like listening to other people comment, I'm like, okay, I have to read all the books. So they're all on hold now at the library. And I heard that she does a lot more in the books. And so like, I do think it like everyone wants to be Hester, but like, what if you're a Katherine? You know what I mean? Like, I probably am Katherine in my cushy little job in life. But like, I like that she probably does a lot more in the books, and she kind of got sidelined in the movie. That's my guess, that she got cut. So I will give her a bit of grace that you can't help how you're raised. But like, I wish she got to do more and show out more, and then she would probably become more quote unquote likable if she did more. You know what I mean?
I felt bad for her.
Like privilege and being woken up. Like, okay, good, now do something. That could have been an interesting thing, but like,
I kind of felt bad for her because I felt like
the portrayal was rough.
I mean, she was raised in this privilege, and she wants things to be even key. I think she had a sense of morality that her dad didn't. But she wasn't allowed to explore that in the movie. I don't know if she gets that in the book, but in the movie, I don't think she gets that chance. Tiffany, what do you think of Katherine Valentine?
Yeah, so in the books, her story arc is obviously more flushed out. So you kind of get a chance to get to know her before. I mean, you still kind of don't like her in the beginning because, she got what her sister didn't get, and it's not fair, but it's not her fault, obviously.
Exactly.
But in the movie, I couldn't stand this character just because of how they.
Okay, glad I wasn't listening.
I think she did her best with the material, but I think that just because they were trying to do this quick movie thing where they have a bad, evil sister or sister that had more, they were trying to do that little trope, So for me, it just felt like it was rushed, that little part. I think if they would have just because the movie was long enough, they could have given them a little bit more, space to develop her character, but it is what it is.
Exactly. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And let's go on to our next character. I love this guy, Colin Salmon, as Chudleigh Pomeroy. Tiffany, talk to me about this guy. I love he was the nerd. I saw him as a nerd.
We need he was almost like in a superhero movie, how you have the man behind the camera or on the phone, trying to help out. He was almost in that position in this movie, and I like that about him. I love a super nerd amongst all the heroes. Somebody who knows all the information, because otherwise, how are we gonna get it? So for me, that's what this character
absolutely
was.
So Kristen, he's an amazing actor, isn't he? Yeah. So good.
Is he the guy in Doctor Who? Like when Donna's in the dream? Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is he like Dr. Moon? Is that what?
Wait.
No.
Yeah, I think that is the same actor.
Is he Dr. Moon? Because the whole time is that Dr. Moon? I forgot to look it up before now, but I don't know. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you all off.
No, go ahead. Tiffany, I don't know if you had something else to say, or do you want us to move forward to the next person? Oh, I think she's a little bit frozen. That's okay. So Kristen, talk to me about this character.
I mean, I liked him, I think, from Doctor Who.
I'm looking that up right now. So we won't find out.
He's delightful. I think he has a lot.
It is. I just looked it up.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
I kind of want his outfit, and I kind of want to be him when I grow up. Be able to geek out about things that I love, but not be the center of any story. Like I just would love to be that character in a story.
Yeah.
But his outfit, his like blazer thing, is
Off
so
the
cool.
hook. I love it.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say.
I had to include the nerd. I had to include the keeper of the information, the keeper of the knowledge, that we can sort of say futuristic librarian, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it. Sarah, what do you think about Chudleigh Pomeroy? What is with these names?
I like this character. I mean, he is, he is the teller of stories. He knows the history, and he's trying to do his best and maintain, some semblance of, I don't know. I'm looking for a word, but I can't find it. But just kind of just to keep everybody, if we don't know our history, we'll repeat it. So I mean, he's trying to keep that, and then he also had that like kind of the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain kind of vibe to him.
Yes, he
That
did.
that he knew how to make all this stuff work, and he could or couldn't. It was.
Mhm.
But I like the actor in general, and I like this character. I mean, he was kind of middle of the road, but I don't think it would have been a good story without him.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And I love your description of him being the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, because I think that that's a perfect description for this character. Absolutely. Now we're going to go on to one of my favorite characters in this movie. How can we not love Jihai as Anna Fang?
Hmm.
Ooh, talk to me, Sarah.
She was a badass. Uh, and it was unexpected, and I really liked her. Um, and that she fought for her people, and she fought for what she believed in, and she just it's a very standard trope, that freedom fighter kind of like, oh, okay, another
Mhm.
freedom fighter. But I think that she did it well and portrayed it very well, and it wasn't just kind of blah. It was fun,
Agreed.
and she's not bad to look at. So
She's beautiful. She's
yeah,
absolutely beautiful. I
yeah,
agree
she
with
is.
that for sure. Kristen, what do you think of Anna Fang's character?
A little bit similar to what Sarah was saying, but I did keep getting distracted by, like, in my head, I was like, is she like steampunk Trinity? Is this happening? Like steampunk Trinity?
Yeah, I think
When I kept
one
thinking
hundred
like
percent. I
the
think so.
outfit and then the glasses, I was like, oh no, I'm stuck in steampunk Matrix. A
Well,
little
kind
bit.
of. Yeah, a little bit.
I wish like they had given her a little bit more like nuance or depth or
Yes,
something.
and authority too. She had a little bit
Yeah.
more authority.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
like again, I do appreciate that this is a very female forward cast, but I wish she had more
Absolutely.
layers to her a little bit.
Mhm.
Her hair was
And I'm
very
wondering if
tall, very
the
tall hair.
books, I'm
Yeah,
wondering if the books give her more
I'm sure
layers.
they do.
I'm wondering. Tiffany, you read the books, correct? What do you
Hmm.
think of Anna Fang in the movie versus how she was written in the books?
Well, in the book, she doesn't come in until I think book 2, I think. But her character in the book, I think they pretty much give her the same amount of layering they give her in this.
Okay.
I haven't read the books in a couple of years, but from what I can remember, it wasn't a big character. I think they made it bigger. From what I can remember, I haven't read it in a
Okay.
couple of years, but I think they made
And
it
how do
bigger
you
in the.
think she did overall in this character in the movie? How did you enjoy that character?
At the moment when I watched it, it was okay. I like her as an actress now. Of course, I've seen her in more things. At the moment when I watched it, I thought it was good casting, obviously. I agree with Kristen on the fact that it was like a Trinity trope almost,
Yeah.
kind of giving her the same kind of attributes as, the savior woman who's going to come in and, and then she sacrifices herself, if I can remember.
Yes.
But yeah. So it was almost, that same kind of trope, but I didn't mind the character.
I didn't mind her either. I think
Yeah.
she really brought it
Yeah,
together.
that thing they
Mhm.
needed for the group.
Yes,
Somebody who was gonna actually
absolutely.
be like a fighter.
In every group, when it comes to this post-apocalyptic kind of depiction sci-fi, you need that hero that's gonna bring it together
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
take
that fighter.
charge. Yeah, the fighter,
Mhm.
like a Michonne, like a Trinity, and
Mhm.
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 who's not just a fighter but a leader as well. And I think that
Mhm.
her character portrayed those things really well.
Yeah.
Definitely. But we're here, Stephen Lang as Shrike. We can't talk about this movie and not bring this character up. So, Tiffany, you go first. Talk to me about Shrike.
First of all, this is the most terrifying thing, especially when he speaks. But it's not exactly how I pictured him, but it's a very close representation. I always pictured him as more like a Terminator type, like when Terminator doesn't have his skin, and
Mhm.
he's like the skeleton.
Yeah.
But so seeing him like more like a zombie almost, it was terrifying. But a needed character. I think he did a good job with it.
Absolutely. I think he
Yeah.
absolutely did. Kristen, what do you think of Stephen Lang's portrayal of Shrike and what of the character himself, Shrike, in this movie?
I mean, I think this was my favorite part of the movie was like his performance and like him interacting with the world. It really threw me off when I saw like his little eyeball in the square thing or the little rectangle. I was like, what is this? What is happening? Like, this big world and now there's a zombie. But like seeing him pursue her, and then I read he was trying to imitate birds, like the Shrike bird, I guess, like instead of doing like a Terminator impression to move differently and differentiate himself. Because I guess the birds like were also stalkers. And so
Oh yeah,
like
there's
that he was trying to do a different kind of movement, and that like
Okay.
his odd, creepy movement came out differently. I'm like, oh, that is so cool. Like one other layer of Stephen Lang, which I don't know a lot of layers of Stephen Lang, but I was like, oh, that's neat. So yeah, I think he emoted really well and like pulled back, and I think that's a hard thing to do. Anyone who has to play some kind of robotic type of person, or
Absolutely.
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you hit it dead on. And this is not exactly an easy character because you're not portraying you. You're physical. You're in this bodysuit or in this animation or whatever they did. And it has to be difficult and challenging. Sarah, what do you think?
I did not know until today that it was Stephen Lang. I didn't realize that. Um, and it didn't surprise me. I mean, he was very powerful, and I mean almost when you hear the tragic backstory that he found her and saved her and raised her, and and she promised that she'd be like him. I was like, oh well, because that was she didn't expect much, and then well, if he's gonna he raises her, takes care of her, and then that's all he asks of her. I mean, really, it's not that much. um but that she did, she betrayed him, she ran away to go pursue her mission, and left him hanging. I mean, he from his perspective, he put all this effort into her, so he'd have a companion, and then she ran off and like, forget you,
Mhm.
bye. And it's like, wait, what? So I mean, I do understand that his singular pursuit of her, and I do appreciate that the actor did do that extra layer of, like Kristen said, of some background research and trying to be like the birds that he was imitating, and that gave him more kind of creepy, stalkery vibe versus more Terminator.
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of liked him. I mean, other than the fact that he was fucking scary, but I did like him because he's like the stepdad, and
He gave
he
Beauty and the Beast vibes. Did it anyone
kind of,
else do
yeah,
that?
kind of, and yeah, that's like he took her in and was taking care of her, and then he didn't want much, but then she spurned him or whatever, and in the end, he told her to be happy, and you know, and let it go, at the cost of his own life, if I remember right. And
Yeah,
it just was.
absolutely.
I mean, I knowing that it's Stephen Lang, and seeing and having seen him in other movies, especially in Avatar and all those, and that he's just one of those characters, one of those, you love to hate him. But I think he did a really good job with this one. Like,
Yeah.
I did not realize it was him until today, and then it was like, oh, I just found that out earlier today. I happened to go to IMDb, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Um,
Exactly.
well,
Exactly.
usually I have it open when I'm watching a movie, but it's like I don't know. I just had never bothered to look, I guess, and it was just kind of, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't want to
So
like
we're
spoil
gonna
too
go
much
on to our next segment,
from the book.
and we're gonna learn about an awesome new scientist today. Take it away, Sarah.
Okay, today I picked Claudia Scheinbaum Pardo. Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo is a Mexican politician and environmental engineer who is the current president of Mexico. She's the first woman and the first Jewish person to be elected to the post. She was born in 1962 to a Mexican Jewish family in Mexico City. Her paternal Ashkenazi grandparents emigrated from Lithuania to Mexico City in the 1920s. Her maternal grandparents emigrated there from Bulgaria in the 1940s to have escaped the Holocaust. Though raised secular, she celebrated the major Jewish holidays at her grandparents' homes. She came from a family of scientists, or she comes from a family of scientists. Her mother, Annie Pardo Samo, is a biologist and professor at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, and her father, Carlos Scheinbaum Yoslovitz, was a chemical engineer. She has two siblings. Her brother is a physicist and physical oceanography researcher, and her sister is a teacher in the U.S. Scheinbaum studied physics at the National Autonomous University in Mexico, where she earned an undergraduate degree in 1989. She earned a master's degree in 1994 and a PhD in 1995 in energy engineering at Berkeley. While working, towards her PhD, she analyzed the use of energy in the Mexican transportation sector and published studies on the trends in Mexican building energy use. She was politically active as a student and professor in the 1980s and 1990s. Although she helped found the student-led Revolutionary Democratic Party in 1998, she wouldn't hold office until the turn of the 21st century. In 2000, she was appointed Mexico City's environmental minister by the city's current mayor at the time. Scheinbaum is also known for her scientific research and policy advocacy on matters of energy efficiency, sustainability, and the environment. She was one of the scientists and policymakers who shared the 2007 Nobel Prize for Peace for their work in the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. She previously served as the mayor of Mexico City from 2018 to 2023 before stepping down to run in the presidential election in 2024 as a candidate for the National Regeneration Movement. She won in a landslide victory in June and began her 6-year term on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, just 4 days ago. I look forward to seeing what she can do.
Absolutely. She sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I was just like,
To have a
wow.
scientist who's also a leader of a country, there's
Hmm.
her social media. Definitely follow her, and see
Yeah,
what comes up next. This
yeah.
is like
The next 6 years could be interesting for Mexico. I mean, she's got a lot of background in energy research, and hopefully, she will be able to bring some change and some positive changes for them.
absolutely, absolutely. But we're gonna go move forward to. I love this segment, and I am getting to talk about a book that I have enjoyed reading. This is the second book in the Rack and Ruins book series. A Safe Place to Die is written by Otto Schaefer. And I got a question for him. What you doing to me? What you doing to me? I'm gonna get to why I say that in a minute. He got me catching emotions, emotions in this book. This book is so good, guys. If you haven't read the first book or the second book, go. He's on Amazon and he's on the TikTok shop. If you get it from the TikTok shop, let me tell you, it's autographed. You get bookmarks, and the box is so spooky and it's amazing, and it's just so packaged beautifully. I love it. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, this is a post apocalyptic story, that a nuclear explosion happens and now even the rain is deadly. Okay, so this is the second book in the series, as I said
Okay.
before, and it picks up perfectly where the first book leaves off from. And the first page you get is an action-packed scene. You can literally, it's so vividly described that you can see it in your head. Like you could just imagine it in a movie. Ooh, this could be a movie. Guys, pick it up. And this will be an amazing movie, okay? It is different than other zombie movies. I know we have tons of zombie movies, but this one is different. Okay, you start to see the decay in humanity and people acting out of fear of letting go their loved ones, and what they would do just to protect their loved ones, even if their loved ones are infected and dangerous. I love how the author creates the zombies where they start out being able to talk and respond even though they're infected and they're in the midst of their transition, okay, into being zombies. But it's all violent. Nothing that we say really makes full sense. And it's a slow process that you can see happening. Um, However, he also shows the compassionate love and care we can have for each other as humans while still trying to survive. The main characters are this couple, and he finds a little girl. He saves her life in the first book, and he's still traveling with this little girl and his wife in the second book, protecting her. They don't know where her mom is. Has she survived? They don't know her at all. They do everything to protect her, and it's now about this little girl, not just about them. And you see that storyline and that emotion happening. This story is different from other zombie stories because the rain can change you into a zombie. The nuclear explosion that happened, the what happened, which they're not really sure what, if it was a meteor or a nuclear explosion, what happened exactly, has infected the atmosphere so that if it rains and you get caught in the rain, you will begin to change. Okay, so it's not just if you're scratched or bitten, but now you got to be careful about making sure you got an umbrella and not get wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this story so amazingly different. And again, I asked Oda Schaefer, what you doing to me? What are you doing to me? You got me catching feelings for all these characters and emotions for these characters. I feel like I am invested in these characters. Now you got me waiting for the third book. Come on, buddy. You're driving me crazy. This book is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. It is great for Halloween spooky season if you want to read them. They're absolutely fantastic. Let me tell you, I'm reading them, and I read mostly during the day, because I feel like my mind is more alert during the day than in the evening. And I'm looking side by side because it's an intense, like the description is so vivid and so beautiful. And it's not just the gore, but the conversations and the interactions and the survival of the characters are so amazing. And this book is really so different than other zombie. And I can say this because there isn't a zombie movie or TV show that I haven't seen in And I go
Mhm.
back to, I've seen zombie movies from black and white zombie movies. Like I go way back with zombies. Okay. So I know a lot about the zombie culture and the zombie movie and book culture. And I've read a lot about them. I mean, how far can you go with it, right? How
Mhm.
much can you extend on it? He found a way of doing that. Guys, this is different. This is fantastically done. And it is perfect for Halloween. Um, I recommend you guys get her off the TikTok shop only because it comes signed. Um, the second book comes in a safety hazard sealed
Cute.
plastic. Yeah, plastic, and it's in a box that has a handprint that glows in the dark. I mean, his packaging is fantastic, and you get bookmarks. I need bookmarks. I love it when I buy a book and it comes with some bookmarks, okay? Because I hate dog hearing it. I mean, his packaging is phenomenal. And I love that it's signed. And it's not stamp signed. You can literally tell this was a pen signature. And I really recommend this book. I think this book will be a phenomenal movie. Um, I can see it having part one and part two kind of movie for sure, because this is definitely something that people would enjoy absolutely watching. So I highly recommend this book. It is absolutely phenomenal. Guys, go and get this book. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Mhm.
Um, if you haven't read it, do so. If you've read it, pass it forward. He's an indie author, so we always promote indie authors here, above any
Yeah.
other authors, because I think that they struggle the most. And I think he's phenomenal. I absolutely think he's phenomenal. But we're going to move on to our next segment, the
Mhm.
podcast. I love this. I love promoting and highlighting other podcasts that people can watch. And because it is Hispanic Heritage Month still, we're going to be promoting this podcast, which I actually find them phenomenal. It's called La Última Fagrua, The Last Forge. They discuss sci-fi books that have been translated into Spanish. And they do an amazing job of really breaking down these sci-fi books. They're fun and they're enjoyable. I loved it. I love the encouraging of showing people that there are sci-fi books in a different language. I absolutely love it. The
Mhm.
podcast is in Spanish, so either if you want to learn Spanish, you can listen to them, or if you know Spanish, definitely listen to them. We have here also the Gradient. The Gradient is a digital magazine covering research and trends in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Artificial intelligence is a huge thing right now. On their podcast, they interview various people in the fields of AI, ranging from researchers to practitioners and beyond. They do a great job with their interviews. Definitely recommend it for sure. And we have here Jupiter Station, a Star Trek podcast. Jupiter Station is a Star Trek podcast. They bring original content with celebrity interviews and expert interviews with every episode. And I've seen quite a few of his interviews. I think he does a phenomenal job interviewing these actors and these experts in the Star Trek franchise. So I absolutely love that. But it's definitely check these guys out. They're so much fun. Before I announce our next show, I wanted to know if Sarah or Kristen had anything that they needed, if they wanted to share, any announcements or anything that they wanted to share. Any last thoughts?
No, thank you so much
No?
for having me on. I've really, really enjoyed talking to y'all. Y'all are always so delightful. I really appreciate what y'all do. Your messaging really matters a lot, and like what you choose to promote and what you choose to focus on, like it really makes a difference. And
Oh,
I was
thank
telling
you.
my
Thank
friend
you.
this afternoon that I was excited to be on just for what y'all do and how the attitudes y'all have is just great. So I'm very grateful.
Oh, wonderful.
That's
Yes,
good.
we love to
Really
highlight
appreciate y'all. Yeah.
female characters, women, and what Sarah does, highlighting female scientists is fantastic. Sarah, I'm sorry. I think I kind of jumped in. You were about to say
No,
something.
you're okay. I was just going to say thank you. I appreciate it, Kristen. It's nice to hear it sometimes.
Yeah.
It matter. It really does. Yeah.
Cool.
Tiffany had to leave. She has to go take care of her little one, but she sent me a private message. But she is part of the team. She is one of our sci-fi queens, and
Yeah.
she's going to have the next episode. It's going to be dedicated completely to what's next in sci-fi. She's going to be bringing the coming attractions of what sci-fi has in store. That will be October 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to have a good time with Tiffany and learning about what's coming up, movies, coming attractions. She's going to update us on everything science fiction in this episode. There will be no sci-fi book recommendation, no podcast recommendation, and no scientist. This is a full episode dedicated to talking about the episodes and what's coming up next in science fiction. So I hope you guys can join us on October 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Don't forget to go on over to the Captain's Quadrant. They have a great show going on tonight at 9 o'clock. I'm just going to wish everyone a good night. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our new channel so that you can get notified